All right. What's going on, everybody? Well, I'm pretty juiced because I got some stuff I want to share with you today. So if you have ADHD, if you got an ADHD brain and you've been frustrated by it. It's been annoying you, it's been holding you back, it's been kicking you down, and you just wonder like, does anyone have a hold on this? Like, does anyone know like how to circumvent the bad and how only to optimize the good? Well, here's what I want to do. Today, I was inspired this past week from some conversations that I had with some of my coaching clients. So for those of you that don't know, which most of you probably do, my name is Ross, and I'm an ADHD high performance coach. And this past week, I was talking with some of my clients, and I was speaking with one, and they had just gotten back from vacation. And whenever this person goes on vacation, they were telling me that they often get back from vacation and they struggle to get back into the habits, into the routines, into the rhythms and behaviors that maybe were really working for them. Like maybe they had really, found this kind of consistent flow and things were happening. Like despite their ADHD, tendencies and their ADHD brain, like things were going well. But they get home from vacation and then they lapse. And they were telling me how what really sucks and frustrates them is that they can often lapse and stay stuck for weeks or stay stuck for months at a time. So first of all, if that's you, if maybe when you go away on vacation and you get home and you get frustrated by that, here's what I want to share with you today. And this is what I told him. I said, listen, I still have lapses. And I've been working on myself and working on understanding my ADHD and learning as much about it as possible in order to harness the gifts, in order to mitigate the bad. And I've been working on that for almost 10 years now. And I still have lapses. So I just want to tell you that the journey of finding out you have ADHD, starting to get the help, starting to build the knowledge and the support through a coach, through a therapist, through medication, through supplements, through exercise, through sleep, through a better diet, through friends, through a great hobby, through all the things that do allow you to live a life that you can be proud of, you're still going to have lapses. And that might be discouraging to hear. That might be a little frustrating and feel like, well, that's not what I'm looking for. But I just want to tell you, like, the goal is not to eliminate your brain. You're always going to have an ADHD brain. So if you know you're always going to have this brain, the goal is how can you live better with it? How can you make this brain a member of your team, right? Instead of an adversary, instead of something you're fighting against, instead of something you don't understand, how about you understand it? How about you get to know it so you can work together to live a better day, to feel fulfilled, to feel like you're in motion and you're making progress and you're building momentum in your life. Like that's the goal. That's what we all want. If you have ADHD, like you just want to feel like life isn't so perpetually exhausting and not even just challenging, but insane and chaotic. So after I told this person this, I still have lapses. I said, but this is what you can look forward to. When you're on this journey, when you're working with a coach, when you're trying all these things, the lapses that you have with ADHD, they don't stick around. I'm able to bounce back much quicker, faster, without as much downtime than pre-10 years ago, when I was ignoring my ADHD, when I was pretending it didn't exist, when I wasn't telling anyone about it, and I was just kind of hoping it just went away and was a non-issue. I'm so glad I'm where I am today because I can lapse and I can bounce right back. So, for example, and I was telling my client this, I said, let me just share this with you. And when I'm working with my clients, most of the time, like it's focused on them. The session is about them, right? I'm not sharing all that many details about myself because we're pulling the ideas out of them. We're pulling out their brilliance. We're shining the spotlight on their insights, on their own like amazing breakthroughs or just ideas of things they want to try to problem solve maybe the quandary that they're in. But in this session, I said, listen, let me share a story with you. So just a couple days ago, it was evening. We had dinner, me and my wife and my daughter. And my wife and I, usually we kind of split the night, we call it the night duties with my daughter. And my wife will do part of it. I'll do part of it. I always like reading the books, tucking her in. Well, it was Sunday. On Sundays, I clean the cat boxes. We have a couple cats that I love very much. And that's one of the ways that I like to serve and support my household is cleaning the cat boxes. No one likes doing it, but I'm happy to do it. I hadn't done it. I knew I needed to get it done. So I told my wife, hey, do you mind doing the whole bedtime routine tonight? I really need to clean the cat boxes. She was like, sure, no problem. Go ahead. So she's doing the night routine with our daughter, who's almost 5 years old next month. Can't believe it. And I go and I close the kitty's door because our cat boxes are in the garage. They have a little tunnel that gets them there from our room. I know, super cool, super crazy. It's an amazing, legit setup. So I close the kitty door. And then my ADHD brain has an idea. Out of nowhere, my ADHD brain goes, oh, Ross, remember you're attending those conferences this fall in September and October. Like you haven't got plane tickets yet. This isn't on my to-do list. And my ADHD brain has just brought it to the forefront. Now, when this happens and you have ADHD and you know it's not written down anywhere, you also know that you better do it right now. So I did. I sat down immediately, totally well aware of what I was about to do, but totally okay with the fact that I was diverting the plan to work on something that felt really important. So I opened the Southwest app just to explore. I'm just going to check it out. And I find out that right when I open it up, Southwest is like, hey, we're having a sale on flights. It ends today. Well, that's double bad for my ADHD brain because I'm like, urgency is what motivates us to act. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get these flights. I need to look. Maybe it's a good deal. So I look and I find out, oh, like the flights are a deal. So I start, checking out, okay, which airport, which flight. So I grab the flight and then my ADHD brain starts serving up more ideas around that same train of thought. It starts going, well, what if you visited your brother? He's down in San Diego. You've wanted to visit him. The event's in LA. So then I reach out to my brother and I'm like trying to coordinate a visit. And so then I decide I'm going to fly in to San Diego instead of LA. And then my ADHD brain goes, well, gosh, like how am I going to get from San Diego up to LA? So then I start exploring train tickets on Amtrak. And then I end up booking a train ticket on Amtrak to get me from visiting my brother up to the event in LA. If you have ADHD, you know exactly how this happens. So time's passing, right? And I'm so hyper-focused. I feel awesome because I'm being so productive. I'm getting shit done and it feels phenomenal. So I'm booking these tickets. I even was able to book my Southwest tickets with points I had saved up from all the traveling this past year. So that was just awesome. Felt so good. I was like, I don't have to pay. I had to pay like $10 for these plane tickets. This is great. And then my ADHD brain serves up another idea along the same vein of events. It's like, hey, you should look into that ADHD conference you went to 5 years ago out in Pennsylvania. Like, see where it is this year. So I search annual ADHD conference, and it's happening this year in November in Anaheim, California. Well, super convenient. I live in Santa Cruz, California. That's just a quick flight. I was like, awesome. So I start digging into this more. I'm digging in. And as I'm digging in, I end up figuring out the dates. They work. I'm like, awesome. November 14th through 16th for the annual ADHD conference. It's been 5 years. Super excited. I end up recognizing, I can get a discount if I'm a part of these, coaches organizations or these other ADHD organizations that I hadn't signed up for. I'd wanted to. Again, this also wasn't on my to-do list. So I ended up signing up for the ADHD coaches organization and this other ADHD organization. And I signed up. I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, not only by joining the ADHD coaches organization do I get to be on like their list. So when people are looking for an ADHD coach, my name will be on there. That'll be a great way to hopefully like find additional people that I can serve and help with my coaching program. Awesome. All these things happen. Well, 2 hours goes by figuring all these things out. And it was a lot. There was a lot of things I was covering, and I probably left out some of it. But here's my point, is my wife came back about an hour into that. So it's like 8 o'clock, and around 7, I had split away to go do the cat boxes, which I didn't do. I closed the kitty door. We'll come back to that. But I hadn't done the cat boxes. My wife comes out, she sees me sitting in a chair, and she's like, hey, did you do the cat boxes? I was like, no, I haven't yet. Babe, I'm working on something. I'm trying to figure something out. So my wife's frustrated, right? She walks away. She goes and watches some TV. And so an hour later, I'm done. It's been 2 hours of me on this hyper-focused mission. And I go out and connect with my wife. Like, I'm feeling good. I just got all these things done. And I'm like, hey, I know I was going to do the cat boxes tonight. I'm going to do them tomorrow morning. It's just getting late. I want to wind down, make sure I get a good night's sleep. And my wife shares her frustration. She's like, Ross, what the heck? Like, what were you doing the last couple hours? Like, it's just frustrating because I was putting our daughter to bed, which I was fine doing. And you said you're going to do the cat boxes. You didn't do the cat boxes, and you're working on only God knows what for the last 2 hours. What the heck? If you have ADHD, this is one of the worst moments when you encounter that same type of thing from your spouse, from your loved one, from your boss, from a good friend, from someone who loves you, they appreciate you, they like you, and they're like, I don't understand. What happened? Why didn't you stick to the plan? Sticking to the plan. That's funny. That's funny. So I tell my wife, I said, I started explaining what happened. I started explaining the chain of events, which I couldn't always do, by the way. Like, there was a time where I wasn't able to do that. Like, it felt silly, or it just felt like too much to explain. So I often wouldn't. I would just say, gosh, I was working on a few things. It was really important. And I think that's from this place of fear that the other person's not going to value what we were working on. As I've worked on myself, like that's improved. And I was able to unpack and share with her a little bit what happened. And I think that was helpful for her to hear. And then she looks at me and she says, Ross, it just was so frustrating because I didn't know what you were doing. And I came by and asked you, hey, Ross, like, what's going on? Like, why have you done the cat boxes? Like, help me understand. And all you could tell me was, I'm just working on some things. I'm just like, let me just finish this up. She's like, why couldn't you just take a moment and share with me what you were doing? Just to bring me into the fold, like, help me understand, like, throw me a bone. And I also wasn't able to do this. The next thing I said to her, I used to struggle with this. I said, you're right. You're right. I don't know why I couldn't just share with you what it was I was trying to work on. In the moment, it just felt like I was so hyper-focused. I just wanted to stay in that flow. But that wasn't fair to you. I'm so sorry. I said, can you please forgive me? I know that can be different next time. I want to do it. I want to do different. I want it to be different. And I know it can. And she said, yeah, like, it's just maddening So I share that with you, and I share that with my client because it was important that he understood that just because I'm a coach, just because I'm further along on the journey, doesn't mean I don't have my own lapses. That was a lapse. A lapse being I gave into my ADHD brain instead of doing some of the learned behaviors and routines and habits that I've gathered over the last 10 years. One is when you have those random ideas that pop in your head that you're like, shoot, it's not on a to-do list. If I don't do it now, it's not going to get done. Don't just do it right away. First, write it down. You need to have a place where you capture everything. Right now, that's an app for me called Twos. The Twos app, like the number 2, TWO, Twos, TWOS. That's the app I'm using right now for that. It's amazing. You should check it out. I'm loving it. It's very much under the radar. So Twos is my catch-all. It's where I put everything down. Anything that I don't want to forget and remember. So why didn't I do that in that moment? I don't know. Probably because I just wanted to. Probably because I was a little more excited to see if there was a deal on a plane ticket than doing the cat boxes. Let's just be honest. So I know you can relate. If you have ADHD out there and you've had one of those moments where there was a plan, or maybe there wasn't a plan, someone just asked you to do something and you end up doing something totally different that made you feel really like accomplished and productive, but it was a divergent plan. It was different than what you had told someone else you would do. It was different than what someone else expected. And so they're frustrated. And now you're having to be on the defense, having to explain yourself. It happens. It happens no matter where you are on this journey. The lapses will happen, but being able to bounce back, not just shaming yourself, not just like curling up in a ball in a puddle of tears or embarrassment or just, depending on where you are on this ADHD journey, I used to get stuck wallowing in my own self-pity, pissed off at myself, super sad that I had let someone else down that I dearly love. That's never our intention, but it happens more often than we want to admit, right? So, yeah, so that's the first one. The other one I want to share is I was working with another client this past week, and they were sharing with me how much technology has been just totally nuking their plan. It's been distracting them, their screen, social media, and they were just feeling super down. And number one, I told them, hey, listen, I had a couple tough days this past week with my own technology. I turned off, why would I do this? I don't know, but I turned off a couple apps that I use to essentially create a moat, create a big castle around me to protect me from those distracting apps. And the thing to know about these apps that maybe you heard in a documentary, maybe you just need a reminder right now, is that these apps, these social media apps, for me, man, it's news apps too. These apps on our devices, they're designed to hook you and they're designed to keep you there. They're designed to make us all addicts. Yeah, you heard me. They're designed to make you addicted to that app. Whether it's Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or YouTube or the Apple News app or New York Times or whatever. They're designed to keep you checking them incessantly. And if you have ADHD, did you know that because we lack enough dopamine, what often happens is these apps that give us the little bursts of dopamine, like social media, like these news apps, YouTube, what have you, it actually registers in our brain. It's a bigger hit of dopamine than a neurotypical brain would get. So we're double screwed. These apps are designed to addict us. And for your ADHD brain, every time you give into that app, it's giving you a dopamine hit that is bigger and stronger than what a neurotypical brain is getting. So it's more exciting, it's more fun, it's more addicting. So I share all that because, like, dude, I struggle with the TikToks, the YouTubes, the news apps, like all those things. I struggle. And here's the important thing. I told my client, I said, it sounds like you're trying to fight these addiction machines with your own human ability. So stop expecting yourself to conquer them with a human. You can't fight a machine like these with a human. I mean, think about it, right? Think about Terminator. I told her, I said, you got to fight a machine with a machine. Okay, and I'll get into what I mean in a second. But think about Terminator, okay? With Arnold Schwarzenegger, classic. All right, now if you're a Terminator, like, I don't know, just a Terminator nut, you've watched the movies hundreds of times. I have not, but I've seen them. And I mean, the premise is like these machines are taking over the world. Let's just say it's social media. It's these apps that are designed to addict us are taking over the world. Okay. And what do they do in Terminator? The humans can't beat the machines. So they recognize that they need Arnold Schwarzenegger's help, who is a machine. They need the machine's help to fight the machines in order for them to have a fighting chance. So you too need a machine fighting for you in order for you to stand a chance to not just fritter away all your time to these addiction machines. So let's get really practical here. So the first thing you need to do is admit that you're an addict. I know, like that's hard for us to do, right? Like no one wants to admit they're an addict. No one wants to say, yeah, I'm totally addicted to my screen. I'm totally addicted to social media. I'm totally addicted to the news app. I'm totally addicted to YouTube. That's the first step, is recognizing how bad it is. Because if you just keep kind of playing it off like, oh yeah, like I was on my phone way too much, but you never go far enough as to say, I'm addicted to this, then you're never going to take the type of action that's required to actually take back control of your life and your precious time. So that's the first thing. And I told my client, it's like, you're addicted. I'm addicted. That's what they're designed to do. Let's just call it for what it is. And secondly, is understanding that you're fighting a machine. So admit you can't win. Give up fighting, however you've been trying to fight it with your own willpower, and instead deploy a machine to fight for you on your behalf. So there's a couple things I want to suggest. One is an app called OneSec, and two is another app called Opal, OPAL, and the other app is called OneSec, one word. And I actually haven't personally used Opal. I've looked into it. It looks really promising. Opal helps you block apps, like total block for certain times of the day or all the time. And OneSec is an app actually that I have really enjoyed using. And these apps take some time to set up. But again, if you're an addict, then I'm pretty sure it's worth the time. So OneSec's great because OneSec, after you set it up, so, between the hours of, let's say, 11 and 8, I don't want to be on certain apps. I don't want to be distracted by them. So if I open them on my devices, what OneSec does is it doesn't open the app. It comes up to the screen and basically like some type of intervention will be on there. Whether the screen's just kind of black with like with a timer counting down, and you can set it to like the most extreme, I think, which is like 60 or 90 seconds. Well, for those 60 to 90 seconds, it gives your brain a chance to actually think, is this what I want to be doing? Do I really need to be getting in this app right now? Is there something else I actually was trying to do? So it gives yourself a fighting chance. And what's nice about it is it doesn't completely block you. Because after you wait that amount of time, you can use the app. It's amazing. Check it out. I should probably do a whole video on that alone. But 1sec is what the app's called. That's the one I've been using. Or Opal, O-P-A-L. Wow, it's getting hot in here. You can turn on some AC. Hang on a second. Okay. Whew, there we go. Okay, so I hope you're running to download those apps. The other thing I want to share, I was talking with one of my clients this past week, and this live today, it's all about the fact that if you have ADHD, it's often a struggle to have a really healthy relationship with your spouse, with your boyfriend, with your girlfriend, with your partner. Like it's hard. It's hard. Because if your partner doesn't have ADHD, or if you're the partner who doesn't have it, and it's super hard to understand them, to understand one another. And if you don't understand yourself, if you have ADHD, then you're making it even like 10 times harder for your relationship, for any type of improvement. So a client of mine has been struggling with his spouse. It's gotten real bad. They're fighting all the time. And I was just reiterating in our session this week, I was like, you've got to make time to connect. Like you have to make time to connect, to look your spouse in the eyes and listen more. Listen first. That's one of the most important things for ADHD because we love to share. We're sharers. We come home at the end of the day and we want to share. And if you'll be our sharing buddy, you'll be our best friend. But listen first. So how do you listen first? Well, start with questions. Start asking questions before you share anything. And you'll gain the upper hand. Like they'll have more compassion and patience for whatever you want to say because you're asking questions of them first and you're listening first, showing you care about them. And you got to do it honestly and openly and vulnerably. So I gave my client a few tools. And one of the things so there's a couple ways to go about this. So with this client in particular, they were really struggling, right? Making time to connect with their spouse. They were struggling talking to their spouse without just like always getting in a fight. So I said, okay, sounds like you need the 5 magic questions. So here are the 5 magic questions that I like to ask my wife often. And I haven't been asking her these questions recently. So this is a good reminder. I need to reintegrate these, get back on the horse. But here are the 5 questions, and these are brilliant. Actually, there's 6 questions, sorry. So 6, number 1, what brought you joy this week? Write this down. What brought you joy this week? Second question, what is something that was hard this week? If you're not writing these down, I don't know what you're doing. First question, what brought you joy this week? Second question, what is something that was hard this week? The third question is, what is one specific thing I can do for you this week? Good, right? I know some of you are like, ooh, that's good. Now, that's a tough one because you don't know what they're going to say. Again, like that's the point. You are you're focusing it on them. One, you're starting helping them get in a positive place, thinking about joy they experienced. 2, you're making room for them to talk about what was hard. And we all need that. We all need a listener to hear what we've been struggling with. And then the third question, what's one specific thing I can do for you this week? Wow. When's the last time someone actually sincerely asked you that? That's why that one's powerful. Number 4, so for me, like my faith in God, like I'm a follower of Jesus. That's huge for me. So with this question, number 4, is there any unconfessed sin, conflict, or hurt that we need to resolve and or seek forgiveness for. This is so good because it gets the other person remembering that they're only human, which creates grace for both people. And the question number 5 is, what is a dream, craving, or desire that has been on the forefront of your mind? He's getting the real stuff. When you're in a relationship, it's so easy to pretend that you know everything about them or to think you do. But when's the last time you actually asked them about their dreams, about anything stirring in their heart, about a new desire that they've been vexed with or just thinking about? It's been on their mind. I can guarantee you that they've had some. Number 6, the question number 6 is, how can I pray for you this week? And if you're not into that, right? Just like maybe again, you ask like, hey, like anything else I can do to help you this week? I think prayer is so powerful. It's an amazing question to ask, brings you closer together. So good. Now, here is the bonus question. This one, if you remember nothing from this entire video, I hope you remember this. This question, if you ask it often of your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, partner, you will be winning. It will cut the legs off of fights and arguments and disagreements. And here's the question. What are your expectations? So good, right? I actually got that one from a couples conference I was at that was hosted by my church years ago. So freaking good. What are your expectations? Let's say you're going out on a date night. What are your expectations for tonight? Let's say you're on vacation. What are your expectations for the vacation this week? Let's say you should have a day off. Hey, what are your expectations for today? Right? It's so powerful. I'm telling you, try it. It's a freaking game changer. Like, I use that one more than anything else. What are your expectations? And I need to use it more, to be honest. So I hope that helps you today. I hope you've gotten some tools from watching this. I hope you've recognized that the journey of learning and harnessing your ADHD brain is not you trying to eliminate your brain. Like, your brain's always going to be there, and you're going to get better and better at recovering from the lapses, at recovering from the very ADHD moments where your brain just takes you on a roller coaster. And the difference is that if you're not on the journey of really harnessing, understanding, unlocking, learning about your ADHD brain, the lapses are probably happening often. They're probably really destructive to some degree. And you're probably feeling like you're kind of drowning. But if you start getting help, if we get on a call together, if you find a coach, you find a therapist, you find a book on ADHD, you listen to a podcast, like you start doing things for yourself that are going to help you level up your own integration and understanding of this unique brain. When you lapse, you're not going to stay down for long. So I hope that encourages you today. I hope that just helps you go out. And if you need to share this with someone else needs to hear it, share it with them, please. Because ADHDers out there, we're looking for someone who understands what we're going through, who understands our struggle, who understands the often difficult to describe existence of living with this very special brain that has a tough time fitting in the box of our world. Okay, hey, have an amazing day. Next Friday, I'll be back here with you for another live. Until then, take care. See ya.